Welcome back, everyone, to the Snowcast episode. Oh, what is this? This is episode 18, guys. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic evening. Again, I appreciate you stopping by. Guys, tonight for our guest, we got one of the most unique streamers in the Elder Scrolls community. The thing about this guy is, as a streamer, a lot of people look up, how do I become a big streamer? And one of the big things that you get as a remark is find a unique niche. And this guy we have on tonight, guys, is one of those people who I think has truly found a super cool, unique niche. Try to say that 10 times fast. MacAttack76. Welcome to the Snowcast. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Dude, no problem. The other thing I was talking about before the podcast, guys, is I do a little pre-chat. I have the person come in. I kind of feel the vibe. Like, hey, is this person more closed? Is this person more open? And I was telling Mac, sometimes those are a little awkward because there's not a lot to talk about. But me and Mac instantly started connecting. He's also a football guy. Look in the back there. Yeah. He's got a freaking Steelers helmet.
Yeah, big-time football guy.
I don't want to say how many podcasts I've been on where I've talked mad crap on the Steelers, but it's okay. It's okay.
That's all right.
Being from New England.
It happens when you win. I understand.
Being a New England fan and being a New York Giants fan, it's double the hatred for sure. But we got so many things, guys, we're going to talk about. These first time, Mac's new to the podcast, so we'll have a bunch of questions just going through different stuff. So I guess let's just start off with the broad. Mac, how's life treating you right now? I guess we can talk a little bit about life circumstances, as it's kind of interesting. So how are things going?
Right. Yeah, it's hard to avoid everything that's going on. I think we're all kind of in the same boat right now. Overall, doing well. Trying to get through it just like everybody else. Working from home, my wife's also working from home. A little bit as best she can. Her job doesn't really translate as well as mine does. My job title, so I work full-time for a college.
Okay.
In the marketing office. So I manage their website, I manage their social media, and I produce all of their video content. And the word digital is literally in my job title, so I can't escape.
Work.
Online, I have to. So
it
is what it is.
No, that's a good thing, man. I think in these difficult times, having an online job is really good. For me, I actually am an analyst, financial analyst at a production plant. They still haven't shut down my plant. I worked all this week.
Wow.
So, I'm going to work, and, literally every 5 seconds, bro, I'm washing my hands, trying not to catch anything, not touching anyone, and we're taking all these, preventive measures, but we're not just working from home. In my job, I can completely work from home, but it's awesome that you get to work from home. Just, a lot of people are getting laid off, and it's not great right now, so...
Yeah, we're lucky. We're definitely blessed in the ability that we can work from home. We can both get paid, so we're not worrying about where our next paycheck's going to come from, probably the majority of Americans are, people around the world. So we're lucky in that regard.
Yeah, I as a content creator, I'm sure you can relate to this a little bit. It's this fine line where I think to myself when I'm content creating, should I talk about relevant stuff or should I try to just get people's minds off it? And so it's a really hard line to walk because I go through phases. Sometimes I love following the news and following what's going on, then other times I hate it. So it really depends.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I used to work in television before I dumped my job now, and I worked in local news for 4 years as well in the Pittsburgh media market. And so news was my life. I was enveloped in it every day, and so I'm the same. There's times when I'm just glued to it, and then other times when the last thing I want to do is turn on a newscast.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I do have to give a disclaimer. I have to apologize to you already, Mac. There was an awkward moment of silence a couple seconds ago. I was watching the stream, and it looked like your mouth was moving, and I thought to myself, why can I not hear him? But it was because the stream is delayed. So for anyone listening, I apologize for that. I thought to myself, that's my first awkward moment of silence, and it was totally my fault for looking at the stream, not my OBS. But with content creation, I don't know. I guess I didn't know this about you. Content creation must have been a pretty easy beat for you to skip into with sort of your work history. What kind of got you into... What was the thought process for content creating? For me, it was, I don't want to play this game all day and waste my time. I want to do something meaningful with it. But for you, what was that sort of, maybe I should do some content creation?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I guess I had started watching a lot of other Twitch streamers and other content creators, listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, and I really wanted to throw myself totally into a game, and I couldn't find what that game was for a while. And then I found the Lore Seekers podcast.
Yep. Oh
and, so joined their community and was like, okay, ESO is where I'm gonna plant my feet, and I'm gonna stick with this game. So I tried to just absorb as much ESO content as I could, and I'm also a huge craft beer fan. It's weird to say I'm a huge craft beer drinker. That makes me sound like I'm an alcoholic.
No. I understand what you're saying, though.
Yeah, I mean, I am. I've tried like over 3,000 different craft beers around the world.
Holy
so
shit,
yeah, I'm
bro.
a big time craft beer fan.
Wow.
And I'm knowledgeable about that. And I thought of all the different little quirks that people have and different streamers have that they bring, no one was really doing that I saw anyway. And I actually saw a lot of similarities between the two communities, between the ESO fam and the craft beer community, in terms of like supporting each other, having each other's back. Like nobody's really a dick, but you know, you have a couple.
Yeah. There's outliers for sure.
But so I saw a lot of similarities, and I thought, well, if I could do something that brings together these groups of people, then maybe we'll all benefit. And I figured I'll give it a shot. This is something new that I didn't think anybody else was doing. And yeah, as far as the content creation part goes, I have some familiarity with video production.
Yep.
You might not be able to tell because my webcam is garbage, but you know,
it's fine.
I know a little bit about branding and trying to stay on brand and all of that stuff, and how to speak in front of a camera. You know, I'm familiar with that. I've done it before. So I thought, well, at the very least, even if nobody's watching me for my gameplay, I could at least BS about the beer that I'm drinking and talk about that for a while. You know, that'll kill some time. So the more I thought about it, the more I was like, yeah, I'm going to play this game. I might as well bring this other beer aspect into it and go for it.
Well, that's the thing, man. You know, anyone can get a computer, get the setup. There it is. Get the setup. What are we drinking tonight? Give us a lowdown. What are we drinking?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Tonight, I'm drinking a beer called Three Floyds. Well, the brewery is Three Floyds. It's called Space Station Middle Finger.
Space Station Middle Finger.
Space Station Middle Finger.
That's amazing.
Ale. Yeah. Three Floyds Brewing Company out of Munster, Indiana. It is a pale ale. I don't know what the ABV is, and it's not very high. It's like 5% or something like that. But
no, nothing crazy, but still.
Yeah, nothing crazy. Great brewery. I've loved everything I've ever had from Three Floyds.
Dude, I'm gonna have beer questions for you and DSO questions, but the first thing I want to start with the content creation, a little bit of advice for people, you know, getting into this, because a lot of people, you know, they start streaming and they're trying to figure out, you know, why would people want to watch me? I think that's a really, really tough part of content creation. And, you know, for me, I always say I stream and I do that, but like the main sauce of Snowstorm Studios is the Snowcast. Like I've kind of put all my eggs into this basket. I love this podcast. I love doing this. This is sort of what differentiates me. What advice would you give to people trying to find like their niche? Because you combined two very unique things, and I think it's working really, really well, man. So like,
yeah, thank you.
What would you say to someone starting who's trying to like get into it and trying to find their niche?
I would probably say that definitely start small. Especially in the ESO fam. I mean, you're not going to become an ESO stream team member right off the bat. So
oh yeah, no doubt.
Some time, you know, if you think I'm going to stream for 6 months and then I'm going to be a partner, you're going to fail. You're
yeah, no doubt.
Setting yourself up for failure.
No doubt.
Yeah, I think starting small and then finding what makes you unique and different from everyone else, and then latching on to that is big. Think of yourself as a brand. Think of your stream as a brand. And all brands do this, right? I mean, what makes Nike different from Reebok?
Yep.
The swoosh and the Reebok logo. But what is it that makes them different? So, you know, you could find, you know, streamers are a dime a dozen. You know, you turn on Twitch and there's a million people that stream it.
Absolutely.
So how do you find something that's different and unique? So you have to create that uniqueness. And, you know, for me, like I said, that was beer. Adding beer in ESO, knowing that I knew was doing it. Yeah, anybody can turn on a webcam and start streaming. But yeah, if you want to build a community, be engaging, have fun with it, and yeah, try to find a way to make it uniquely yours.
Yeah, and is there a bit of trial and error? Was there a bit of trial and error at the beginning of your content creation?
Oh yeah, for sure. Just trying to figure out a lot of tech related stuff, just trying to figure out how OBS works, and I'm familiar with switcher systems, but trying to run a switcher and being the entertainer and playing a game and interacting with chat. I mean, it's a whole new beast, as you know, and a lot of other content creators know. Totally different than what your regular gaming experience would be,
Absolutely. No. And like I said, I just think with your brand and what you're doing, it's just very obvious in a good way. So I always tell people, Mac Attack's one of those guys that I have a lot of admiration for because he's doing it his way, and there's no one else that's doing it the way you're doing it, and I appreciate that. Like, I could even say things that I do are very similar to what other people do, and maybe I'm a little bit envious of the, you have a very unique brand, so it's something that I always try to push smaller streamers towards because that's the secret sauce to any content creation is, being unique. And with that uniqueness, are you finding that you're getting more support from the ESO community or the, craft beer community? Because you're almost putting a toe in each party. And do you know where to focus more of your time? Are you...
Yeah, I think this is a really fascinating thing. I really thought I was going to get like 50-50.
Yep.
That I was going to get a lot of beer people and a lot of ESO people. Honestly, I'm getting the majority of the people that are in my community who watch my streams regularly are just flat out ESO people.
Yeah.
And actually, a lot of them don't drink beer at all. So it's really, they drink vicariously through me. They're like, Matt, tell us all about this beer that you're drinking. We want to hear about it. And I'm like, oh, you guys are going to love it. It's it. And then they're like, that sounds disgusting. It's like it's a daily occurrence on my stream.
Yeah, well, that's what's tough is most people who listen to the podcast are ESO people, not podcast listeners. So
right.
Yeah, I think it does come down to the game you're playing a little bit when you're first starting out. But with the beer community, are you, and maybe this is personal question, but are you seeking sponsorships from some of these beer companies? Like, I'm sure, like, you could. I don't know if that's a possibility or if that's been in the cards. Is that something you're looking to do?
I've thought about it a little bit, and I have some connections. I know brewers, people who brew professionally, people who own their own breweries. I know them. I hang out with them. I drink their beers on stream. I've never really sought out just a flat out sponsorship or anything like that.
Less beer to drink.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I would maybe be open to it in the future. But again, I don't know how well. Like, if I mention to a brewer that, if I average like 10 viewers a night, if they're gonna think, oh, well, this is a person you want to.
It's so tough, man. It's so tough. No, I totally understand that. And I've had people come to me and be like, why aren't you getting sponsorships? Why aren't you running ads? Like, not just the Twitch ads, but like, some people have ads in the corners of like a mobile game or something. And it's like, man, we're right around the same size. It's like 10 viewers a night. Like, I feel like I'm kind of going in thinking my dick's real big, and it's really not. And I'm like, hey, like, check me out, bro. But like, I think that's the sad thing. And I don't mean to pivot the conversation, but to a non-streamer, 10 viewers doesn't seem like a lot. But I'm sure, as you know and I know, 10 viewers to me is a huge fucking accomplishment. Because I streamed for so long and no one watched. So the fact that people watch, I don't care how many it is.
Right, and I have a community now who I'm so grateful for. I mean, the same folks come every single time I stream and hang out the entire time.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Such an honor. I mean, I do it for them.
Yep.
More
yeah,
so
absolutely.
Than for me. I mean, I don't need to stroke my ego. I'm fine. I don't care. But
no,
these
totally.
People show up every week, and I feel like I got to give them something.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Really humbling.
And it's sad too because for me, and I don't mean to go personal, but I've had people who have been like, I stream with other people a lot of the time. I have personal friends on, people I've met, and they're like, why do you care about streaming? It's only 10 people. And to me, I'm like, what the, only 10 people? Like, I streamed for a year and a half and no one watched, you know? So it's definitely a humbling thing, and it's...
you worked your ass off to get those 10 people, so... Yeah.
You're fucking right. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy. And, you know, I think that jump is really hard, and for a lot of streamers. I actually found a little bit of a tangent. If you ever, like, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I'm going to say it. I have gone on and Googled Snowstorm Studios and just seen what pops up. You know, is there anything besides my links? And there's actually this, like, stream, like, review website. And so what you do is you go on there, and it will actually show you all of your numbers. And
Wow.
You'll have to do it for years if you're ever interested. My stream is in the top 2% of Twitch streamers for, like, growth, or for like viewership and followers. And I'm like, 2%? Wow. But that's because that 0 to 10 is so important. And I think that really, I was thinking to myself, wow, it's how many people can't get that. So it's insane. I don't mean to go off on a tangent about it, but...
No, you're right, though, because even if you think about what it takes, or what Twitch requires to become an affiliate, you know, you need to have 3
concurrent
streamers, 3 concurrent viewers on average. Like, that seems so insurmountable.
But it's very hard.
Yeah.
Very hard.
Actually, so, fun fact, when I was, whenever I got affiliate, I only got it because I was doing a charity stream. I was doing an Extra Life.
Oh.
I was doing a 12-hour, like, marathon 12-hour Extra Life stream.
Shit.
And I got rated by a couple of big folks, and before I knew it, I had like 150 viewers or something like that. And I had never had more than 4.
Yeah, that's a crazy moment, too, for the medium-sized streamers. One of the things I do want to preface before we even go into that, one of the things I talked about with Mac, and this is one of the reasons I really want to have him on, is I feel like we live very similar lives. Like, Mac, don't tell me if I say anything wrong here, but you're married. I think you have a child, correct?
I do have a 2-year-old, yep.
And then you also have a full-time job, and then you're also content creating.
Yeah.
I'm exactly in the same boat with you, except it's a girlfriend. I don't have a kid yet. I do want to have kids, and I'm content creating. So it's this juggling lifestyle that is really hard, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
So that was one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, and that's one of the reasons I know the whole 10 viewer thing or any of that stuff is significant to you, because it's difficult. But it's crazy when you get hosted by a huge streamer. Does it feel different to you? Like when you have 150 people instead of 10 people, are you feeling a difference in the vibe?
I think the regular viewers and my mods do a really good job of setting the tone in chat kind of early. And just kind of letting people know, hey, we're all here to just hang out. So, like,
absolutely.
Cool. Even though, like, my armpits are sweating. And I might be visibly,
dude, I know. Yeah, I know.
I'm like, really shaking, and I'm trying to keep track of everything. So internally I'm freaking out. I hope whenever it's on camera, it doesn't look like I'm freaking out.
Yeah, no doubt.
So there is a change. I feel like my energy gets ramped up, and I try to keep it low.
Yep.
But yeah, it's always, whenever chat is just like flying, you know.
It's crazy, dude.
Overwhelming, you know.
Crazy. I had one short story. I had a huge streamer one time host me, and I was living back with my dad, and I was in my bedroom streaming, and the stream was going great. It was like a 200-person raid, and like after an hour, we still had like 160, which is awesome because a lot of people dip out after.
Oh yeah.
And I look up, and this is in August, and there's all these bugs on my wall. Like, there had to have been 800 bugs because my air conditioning unit was cracked a little bit and bugs were coming into the light. And I was like, do I end the stream and get the vacuum cleaner and clean my wall? Or do I just sit here? And I sat there, dude, for like 2 hours, and it's actually clipped. I'm just looking up, like, having fun, like staring up.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
It was awful. It was awful, but it's so true. There's definitely a different vibe.
Yeah.
So one of the things I want to talk to you about is Elder Scrolls Online. So when did you start playing ESO? When did you start playing ESO, and how long did you play before you content created for it or Twitch streamed for it?
So I actually pre-ordered ESO before it launched.
Oh shit! So you're an OG.
Yeah, OG kind of.
Oh, kind of. Okay.
I was an OG, and I played it for a week. None of my other friends came to ESO. They were all hardcore WoW players.
Oh God.
Couldn't get any of them to come over to ESO,
Yep.
so I had no one to play with. So I kind of lost interest early.
Yep.
Every so often, like every 6 months, I might come back. I would play for like 2 days, and then I would drop it because, again, I would lose interest. I had no one to play with, and I would just do quests. I didn't run any group content until I don't know what came of it. Just like something sparked, and I was like, I'm just missing a game that I can fully invest myself in, and I love the Elder Scrolls universe.
Yep.
Maybe I should give ESO another shot. And so before I did that, I was like, okay, I haven't played in a while. I know I'm missing out on a lot. I got to figure out what's going on in the game. So I just did a little Google search. I pulled up the old Google machine and typed in Elder Scrolls podcasts. First thing that came up was the Lore Seekers podcast.
Yep.
And they were a brand new podcast. They only had 2 episodes out. So I was like, oh well, okay. And have been listening ever since. And I was like, okay, well, these guys seem to have a pretty cool community. I'll start up. And then they started their guild. I joined their guild, and that was the first time I ran any group content. So, I mean, I had the game for 4 years up to that point, I guess.
Wow.
3.5 or whenever it was that Lore Seekers started. Yeah, so it had been years. So I was on and off, and then I started playing pretty heavily about 2 years ago, right around 2 years ago this time of year.
And then how long did you play heavily before you were like, hey, maybe I should stream this, maybe it's time to...
Probably about 6 months, I would say. I think I played it pretty heavily until like August. And
okay.
Then August of, it must have been 2018. And then I was like, okay, this is something that I think I can do. And I had watched a lot of other streamers, ESO streamers, pretty regularly. And yeah, then I was like, okay, this is something I want to do.
Who were some of the guys, if you don't mind me asking, or ladies that you were watching from the ESO besides the Lore Seekers? Who were some people that inspired you?
Yeah, I watched Bearded Chegg.
Phenomenal.
Bearded Chegg, yeah. So he doesn't play ESO anymore, but at the time he was an ESO stream team member. I watched him every day. I still watch Chegg just about every day. And a couple other folks who no longer really stream much at all, but Orchide.
Oh, yep. Orchide's awesome.
I watched Orchide a lot. He was very helpful to me.
Yeah, he's
Robin
been on
Somniac.
here. Okay. Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I watched Robin a lot. And then, like, some of the big ones, Ninja614.
Yeah, obviously.
Monkey,
yep.
I just lurk in their streams and just watch.
Yeah.
Just for gameplay, really. And that's how I learned really how to play group
content
gameplay. I never ran any dungeons at all until I watched a lot of other people run through the content.
Huh, yeah, no, that for sure. And the thing about all those streamers you just named off is they all brought different things, and I think that's, I mean, it's, people come and leave ESO, and it's something I wanted to talk to you about a little bit too as well, but no, that definitely, I definitely drew from the same people. I think the biggest one for me was always Kev Dewitt. He let me voice act in a couple of his videos, and then from there I just really fell in love with his content, and then he kind of just took me under his wing and has always been helpful. But yeah, no, for sure, those guys, I had Orchide on the podcast, and it's such an amazing dude. He had me on his podcast and did like the reverse of what we're doing, which was crazy.
Right. I remember I watched that episode, or I listened to it anyway. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And then Robin Somniac was awesome. I remember she would stream during the day, and she'd do like big trial content, and she was so fun to watch. She was a Sork main, which I always loved because I was a Sork main, so I was always enjoying that. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and I would find them for different things, just like you said, Robin would always do endgame, real hard vet content. Chegg would, be crazy and do pug vet content, and it just kind of gave me the confidence that, oh, well, I've watched them run it a million times, I can do that too.
So the question is, having a family and all this stuff, what is your wife and the rest of your family think about this? Because, it's sort of a tough thing to explain, especially, we're in the same boat here, I've had people tell me, it'd be embarrassing to say my friend, my brother, my boyfriend is a streamer, but it's not embarrassing to say he's a financial analyst. It's that sort of, well, okay, great, yeah, you're right about that, but being a financial analyst is fucking boring, and being a streamer is really fun. So, like, how does your family digest this hobby that's becoming something,
Yeah, well, my wife is incredibly supportive, and thank God for that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be doing it anymore, you know? I mean...
Absolutely.
I can only stream, realistically, a couple nights a week.
Yep.
And it's because, like, she's able to do something else, you know, and doesn't care that I do this, and understands that it's something I'm passionate about.
Absolutely, yeah.
And as far as my other family members, most of them don't know what Twitch is.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I say I'm streaming, they're like, is there a current of some sort running through your backyard? I don't understand.
Yeah, no, I got you.
They don't get it, and then some of our friends who are, you know, of a younger generation, they know what Twitch is. They're like, "Oh, that's cool. Are you like gonna be the next Ninja?" No.
Well,
really.
no, not. That's not what I was planning for, but.
Right. Yeah.
No. Yeah, for sure.
So it's kind of a mix, you know, and but they're supportive. You know, I've had whenever I do. Charity stream. I've only done a couple charity streams, but I've done them, and you know, extended family members, cousins, brother-in-laws.
Yeah.
Popped in, and you know, just to see. And again, my wife is not a gamer, so even if I were to just be invested in a game and not stream, she would have to be understanding of the fact that sometimes I just want to sit back here and play a game, you know?
No, absolutely. That's awesome. Yeah, my girlfriend, who, like I've said before, I'm pretty sure is going to be my wife. It's very similar, you know? She's not a huge... She likes, like her and my brothers are actually out in the other room right now playing Mario Kart. But,
nice.
But, yeah, definitely not, like, a huge ESO person. But that support is always really, really important.
Yeah.
So, couple questions.
Okay.
So you answered it kind of. Your wife isn't a gamer, so she'll probably never want to stream with you or anything. I keep trying to convince my girlfriend, but she's not really into it. But
one time I got my wife to agree to create a character in Skyrim.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So this was back Skyrim on Xbox.
Oh, hell yeah.
Xbox 360.
Oh shit. Okay.
So like throwback Skyrim. Yeah.
Yep.
Like, okay, finally, just to get you to shut up, I'll make a character. Turned it on. Red Ring of Death.
Okay, so the universe is telling you, nah. Yeah, okay, fair enough. The second question is with your I guess not newborn anymore, 2 years old. Will you ever introduce them to Elder Scrolls and this whole side of your life, or is it something? Because there's some streamers that they don't want anyone to be a part of this. Like I've had streamers on that say no. Like if they want to see it, they can, but I'll never like show it to them. Like, are you like I'm gonna be the kind of dad? I'll tell you right now. I'm gonna put a controller in their hand when they're 4. I'm gonna be like, get on, start grinding.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, I can't wait to just totally pawn my son into Mario Kart. Yeah,
yes.
I'm gonna throw all the red shells.
Yes. That's awesome.
I'm not gonna hold anything back. Yeah, I really hope that he does. I'm not gonna push it on him.
No, obviously not.
If he likes it, yeah. If he likes it, he likes it. That's great. But I think it's funny. So he's 2 now. Who knows what's going to be popular by the time he is older? But so my wife is an elementary school teacher.
Okay.
And she teaches 4th grade.
Oh,
and
shit.
And she says it's amazing to me how many of her students say, like, whenever I want to grow up, I want to be a streamer.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
with
now
Ninja?
That's something the kids aspire to. Exactly. Like, I watch Ninja all the time. So when I grow up, I want to be a streamer, or I want to, you know, play games for a living. I want to be a pro gamer. I want to do esports.
Yep.
And one day my wife came home and was like, what are esports? And I was like,
not ESO. Not ESO.
Right.
But...
Not ESO. What are esports? I was like, well, that's a long question.
It's a loaded one, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah. I think by the time my son is old enough, it's just, I think it'll be just like a normal thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. And I love that that's happening. The only thing is, and I don't want to jinx you here, so knock on wood, I got a wooden table, I'm knocking here. But, you know, I always find sons don't want to do anything their dad does, at least my dad. I never wanted to do what my dad did. He never wants to do what his dad did. But hopefully it's different. But that's awesome. You know, I had Ninja 614 on, and he has 3 boys. And none of his kids like to play ESO. And so when I had him on, I told him, Ninja, I live in the Twilight Zone because I'm one of 3 boys, and we all love ESO, and my dad hates it. So I told him, we're the Twilight Zone, so we're the other side, and it's just as rough over here. And he started laughing. He goes, "Okay, good. I'm glad at least the flip is somewhere." But that's awesome. Now, I want to move a little bit over to like the craft beer content stuff with you, and I'm gonna be real. I'm a mixed drink guy. All right. I'm not gonna lie to you. I won't
hold that against you.
I'm a big screwdriver guy. Just vodka and OJ. It's my drink of choice.
That's my brother-in-law's go-to also.
It's it's easy, but I've definitely dabbled in the beer game. So the first thing is for someone new getting in. I'm 24, so I can have beer. No underage drinking. Chat. Jesus Christ. Right. Secondly, what's the way you would say to someone to get into craft beer? Is there a path? Are there websites you can order easier beers to like get into to like kind of grow that palate? Like what's the thought process there?
Yeah, there are some sites that you can do that are, they're kind of like these other subscription sites. They'll mail you the beer of the month or whatever, beer of the month clubs. But then also nowadays, at least in most parts of the country, you can get. We all have availability of good craft beer. I mean, the brewery scene is exploding. There are now more breweries in the United States. I think 2018 or 2019 was the first time that we saw the brewery number surpass that of what it was before Prohibition, which is a substantial number. So everywhere you can find good beer. So I think if you are new to craft beer, you maybe don't know what to drink. You don't know what to go to. There's so many styles. It can be overwhelming. But a lot of people, when they think of beer, they think the big three: Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Lite. That's what beer is. That's what beer tastes like. So whenever people come into my stream, this actually happens a decent amount. People will come into my stream and say, "Hey, Mac, what do you recommend for something that tastes like beer?" And I'm like, well, if you think tastes like beer means tastes like Miller Lite, then you're going to look for a lager, or you're going to look for a Pilsner or something like that. But yeah, if I try to play on what someone's tastes are like, because my wife, for example, did not like beer at all when we got married. But now she loves craft beer in all styles. I consider it my greatest achievement.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's impressive. That's very impressive.
Big part, yeah. So I try to play on what someone's tastes are. So I ask, do you like coffee? Do you like the flavor of coffee? If the answer is yes, then I'll say, okay, then maybe try a dark beer. Try a stout, try a porter, try coffee-infused beers. They're all over the place. Do you like fruit? You can have fruited beers, fruited sours. You can have all kinds of different things. Do you like bitter beer? Because then you're going to want to go for an IPA. Do you like, again, sort of juicy beers? Then you can have a hazy New England style IPA. So there's all kinds. I do believe it's honestly like wine. If you've ever heard of a wine connoisseur.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My dad.
Everybody can like wine. You just have to find it. It's honestly the same with beer.
Huh.
Everybody can find a beer that they like. You just have to find the style that fits you.
So I'm going to be selfish right now, and I'm a big coffee guy, like a big coffee guy. So what's a good starter for me?
So if you're a coffee fan, I would go for the stouts. I would go for the porters, because those styles of beer sort of intrinsically have those flavors in them because of the roasted barley.
Okay.
Even without coffee being added to them, they have this roasty quality to them. But you can find a lot of stouts in particular have coffee added, so it just enhances that roastiness.
Huh. Okay.
And you can find all different kinds: coffee, chocolate, vanilla, crazy concoctions. So yeah, I would say try for stouts, and I think you might be able to find some things up your alley.
Huh. So the real question is, as a beer connoisseur as yourself, have you made your own beer?
Yeah, I'm an avid home brewer.
You're a home brewer, so do you have a whole alchemy setup in your garage?
Oh yeah, that's crazy. I have a 10-gallon system, so I can brew 10 gallons at a time.
Holy crap!
I usually don't brew quite that much. I usually tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So I haven't brewed in a little while, and actually I was going to brew this weekend, but with all of the closures and everything that's happening, my homebrew supplier is closed, so I
Ugh.
wasn't able to get my ingredients from him.
You know what would
But
be a
yeah,
you know what would be a cool idea? Get like a some sort of get up, maybe even on your cell phone, and do a stream where you show the complete
yeah,
process of making your own beer. You know, and
yeah. I've
I,
really
I
thought about it.
I know people are more ESO, heavy in your community, but I see a lot of your members in chat, and they're all talking about your beer knowledge, and I would most definitely tune in. And you know what? You could actually, maybe I should be your marketing guy here, but you could make a whole YouTube
Totally.
channel, dude, where you'd like do like a brew creation, and like kind of just run through that process, because I think that's something not a lot of people know about, and it's
I've
probably
really thought
interesting.
about it. I've really thought about streaming a brew day, or at least recording portions of it,
Yep.
editing it together, and like you said, posting it on YouTube or doing something. I think that would be a lot of fun. And actually, in a way that brings this back and ties it into ESO, and I've talked about this on my stream a few times, there is a recipe in ESO. There are a couple recipes actually in the game. If you go to East
Bro,
March, yeah, dude.
bro, make
If you
them.
go to East March, yeah, that's it. If you go to East March, there's
Yes.
that meadery that's like right outside the city. There's a
Yep.
couple of quests. There is a piece of paper like sitting on the floor randomly that is a list of ingredients, and it's a list of recipes. And so I picked it up once and was just reading through it, playing the game, and I was like, these are legitimate things. Like they have Hellertau hops, which is an actual hop. They have a specific strain of yeast that actually exists. They have all these things, and I was like, I should do this. I should make this recipe exactly to the specifications that are in the game. And maybe it sucks, maybe
Yeah.
this person had no idea what they were doing. But hell, we'll make it and see how it goes. So I was going to do that actually with this batch of beer that I was going to brew this weekend. I was also going to order the ingredients to make that mead, but has to wait until
Yeah, dude, until
now
all this
the
shit
supplier
passes.
opens.
For some reason,
Yeah,
I feel like Rich Lambert's a beer guy, so I feel like he might have actually thrown that in there, and I don't know, maybe it's just the
yeah.
beard that kind of gives that beer vibe.
No, he's totally a beer guy actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Madigon. I don't know if you're familiar with
Yep.
Madigon, the streamer. So he had a whole bunch of people in his chat one day, and he rated me, and Rich happened to be in his chat, and so yeah, and Rich mentioned like, "Oh, you stream ESO and drink beer? Like that's the coolest thing I've ever heard." Followed. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
he's totally into craft beer. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So the last beer question I got for you is, what, and I don't know how much you've traveled, but what city has the best craft beer? Like if you're,
Oh my, this is a really hard question.
I actually have one more
Unfortunately-
beer question after this, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, I live closest to the city of Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's bumping out some pretty great craft beer.
Gotta go with the hometown.
Boston's beer scene though is out of this world.
I was gonna say I'm from New Hampshire. When I'm down in Boston, I'm not gonna lie, the
Yeah.
beer scene's pretty legit.
Yeah, man. I mean, they've got Treehouse, which is worldwide. They brew a beer called Julius that is so good. But actually, Julius, in my opinion, isn't even the best beer that they brew. So all of New England. I mean, there's a bunch of breweries in Vermont.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
There's one. We went to Vermont a couple years ago on vacation, essentially just to go to breweries. My wife and I, and my son was 3 months old at the time. We hauled him along with us, and yeah, we went to a bunch. There's one called The Alchemist, which is in Vermont. They actually
Alchemist.
essentially invented the hazy style IPA with a beer called Heady Topper.
Okay.
Out of this world good.
Huh.
There's another brewery up in Vermont called Hill Farmstead. It's kind of hard to find. You pretty much have to go to the brewery to get their beers, and it's like in the middle of nowhere because it's Vermont.
Of course, yeah.
And other cities that have really awesome brew scenes, Charlotte, North Carolina
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay.
is really cool. And also sticking with North Carolina, Asheville, North Carolina, freaking awesome beer scene. If
I
you
feel
can ever get to
I feel
Asheville.
like the beer scene's growing too. Like you said, I feel like it's becoming more and more popular. I think you just see society in general. This is a pretty broad statement, but like very homegrown, organic, independent, unique brands are really taking over, and it's becoming almost the cool thing. So, you know, these smaller beer breweries are probably kind of growing in popularity because of that movement.
No, I totally agree, and I think it's our generation is really sort of driving this.
Oh, absolutely.
These like macro industries, you know, Amazon and all of these huge global institutions, but then somehow we're still becoming this hyper localized society where fresher is better, local is better. So that's why you're seeing all these breweries pop up. So really, anywhere you go, I mean, the smallest of small towns here in Western Pennsylvania has a brewery. It's really fascinating, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure, man.
The breweries out west. I mean, some of these breweries in California, unbelievable. Breweries in Washington State and Oregon are just killing it. So, I mean, yeah, any major city you go to is going to have a really kick-ass brewery. But even some of the small towns, don't sleep on the small town breweries.
Yeah.
They can be pumping out some pretty unique stuff too.
Well, man, I'm going to have to try a stout. That's what I'm going to do. I got a couple beer breweries around here. Once this coronavirus decides to go away or some good news comes, I'll definitely try it. And I'll do it on stream, and I'll definitely give a shout-out to MacAttack for it.
Yeah, please do.
Let's shift a little bit to ESO again here. I have a couple reoccurring questions. You know, I ask new people on the podcast. With ESO right now, and, you know, I need honesty here, Mac, all right?
Yeah.
What is if you could change one thing about the Elder Scrolls Online, what would it be? You know, it's my game too, bro, but, you know, I definitely don't shy away from saying what it needs. What would be the one thing you think it needs that you don't think they're doing well? And I'll tell you mine after.
Yeah, okay. I think, one thing they're not doing well.
Or one thing you don't enjoy.
This is going to sound weird because I'm not a PvP player.
Okay.
I just feel like PvP has always been secondary.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Absolutely, man. I think if you watch people like Fang Rush, you know, you understand how secondary it feels to some people who this is their main content.
Which is weird. You know, Fang Rush is one of the biggest streamers of the game. All he does is PvP, and like the following that he has, and
it's ridiculous,
the amount of players who want to play PvP. But I mean, when was the last outside of getting these heroic weapons in Zero? I mean, when was the last like big addition to PvP that we got? I don't know.
Yeah, you know, Fang Rush, I want to answer that twofold because there's 2 points. That Fang Rush to me seems bigger than the ESO community. You know, when I think about the leads of the ESO community, when like I think about who's like really at the forefront, 2 names come to mind for me: Ninja614 and T the Khajiit. Yeah. Those are the 2 that I think really have the community kind of by. And Dots Gaming is another one who I see a lot up there.
Yeah.
But then when I mean those, okay, so those are 400 to 800 people, which is. You and me know that's ridiculous numbers.
Yeah,
but then you got Fang Rush at 5.2 thousand viewers. It's like I feel like he doesn't really interact with the ESO community. He's just his own sort of entity. But then when it comes to PvP, you're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right. I don't know if it's ESO. I think the only rebuttal I'm going to give to that is I think if ESO focused on PvP primarily and not PvE, our community would be shaped very differently. I think the PvE community has shaped the ESO fam in a lot of ways because instead of being this competitive, toxic, you're shit, you play meta, you're trash, it's very supportive. Hey, let's go run this trial together. Let's get you this skin. Let's do this dungeon. So I think ESO kind of sees, hey, if we focus on the PvE content, we're going to be creating a better community. And maybe I'm wrong about that, but just from the outside looking in, that's why I don't always hate on it.
No, I think you're totally right. I think you hit the nail on the head there because you see it in any game where there's PvP. It just kind of fosters negativity and
absolutely
toxicity.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
By its nature, I mean, competitiveness brings that out in people. You can't escape it. But you're right. If people are playing this game how you and I play the game, to play in a group, to do PvE content, overland content, quest, whatever, there's no reason to be like that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think the developers have seen this is where this community is going. Let's just
ride it out,
run with this, because this is what's going to carry us forward.
Yeah, because the only PvP DLC, the only PvP DLC was Imperial City.
Yeah.
Other than that,
was that really the last time we've had a big change?
Morrowind brought Battlegrounds, but it wasn't open world Cyrodiil PvP. And now, don't get me wrong, there's something really fun about going into open Cyrodiil PvP, getting a big giant Zerg and just mowing over people. I definitely enjoy that.
That's like the only way I'll do it.
Me too.
I do not care for Battlegrounds, and it's part of it is because I don't take the time to like make a good PvP.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but if I'm gonna PvP at all, gotta be in a big Zerg, just running across Cyrodiil. Yep. That is fun.
And for me too, I'll admit this, and it's no knock on my ESO skills, but being good at PvP, I think PvE is a lot easier than being good at PvP, because PvP is so competitive, while PvE is so supportive. You know, the lifestyle I live, working all day, coming home, hanging out with my girlfriend, hanging out with my family, streaming when I can. Being a good PvEer is a lot easier than being a good PvPer, where you really have to dedicate a lot of time, a lot of research, a lot of build theory crafting. It's a lot more work on that end, and so that's hard too.
I cannot agree with you more. Yeah, exactly the same with my lifestyle. I have to approach the game in a very casual way.
Yep.
Because I simply don't have the time to do otherwise. So how am I going to play this game in a casual way and still have fun with it? It's got to be running dungeons with friends, or questing or whatever. I'm not going to be able to be a good PvP player. I simply don't have the time.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same exact boat. And like I said, I just think the PvE community is stronger right now than the PvP community, where every patch note comes out in a PvPer, we'll watch a YouTube video, look at it, and just bitch. A PvEer is much more critiquey about it. I remember when they changed the Sork shields. The PvP community was up in flames, and the PvE community was very much, hey, we don't like this. Where can we post that we don't like this, so we let you know how we feel,
Right. I think so too, and this is painting with a broad brush, but I think that a lot of PvP players are not necessarily Elder Scrolls fans.
No, absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
They just like to play in a fantasy setting against other people.
Yep.
They couldn't care less about Tamriel or the lore or anything like that.
Yeah, and
Yeah. Where it's like, I play the game for the story. I play all games for the story content. I want to be engrossed in a good story. So that's why I play ESO and all Elder Scrolls games. So that's just not my play style.
No, absolutely, and I agree 100%. So, we said what your least favorite thing was. It's sort of the way PvP is run, and not a lot of tension. What's the thing you think ESO does the best?
Gotta be storytelling. I think they just kill it with the stories, man. The writing, the voice acting, everything is so well done, in my opinion. Like, where else? What other game can you play that has this many hours of voiced content that is it is engaging, it is new, it is unique, it is fun, and it's not super repetitive.
Yep.
I mean, I can't find, and not to knock on other games or anything like that, but I played WoW for several years, and like, if I got one more quest where I had to go kill 12 boars, I was going to shoot myself.
Yep. No, I got you. The only thing about the ESO questing, and it's one of the gripes I've had with it, and for me on my stream, I don't do a lot of questing. I do a lot more dungeons, trials, world boss, stuff like that. The thing I wish it had is more what's the term I'm looking for? Jeez. More diversity, I guess, or more branching ways to talk to characters. I forget what you said. Like, if you're in Skyrim and you go and you talk to an NPC, you have like 4 different options on what to say. I feel like in ESO, it's more like reading a book than being a character, because you don't really get a choice in what you say. It's more you're just digesting it, and they only give you a choice at the end, and by that point, I don't really care about it. And I guess for me, I'm so used to Skyrim where, like, let's just say I'm playing an assassin character. There's an option every time you talk to someone to remain silent, and that makes you feel like you're part of the world interacting with the NPC, not just triggering the NPC to say something. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is true. I remember that about Skyrim. Yeah, that was always pretty cool when you remained silent, and then the NPC was like,
Yeah. Oh, a quiet one, I see.
Yeah,
and it's no knock against the storytelling in ESO, because like if we're just looking at the DLCs, you know, Morrowind to Somerset to Elsewhere, like the storytelling just gets better and better. Like I know that. I know that for sure. I just wish branching dialogue. I wish sometimes you could more morph your character into it. And then the other thing too is when you're questing with people, it doesn't feel. I wish the quests would tailor to the amount of people in your group. So if like you're in a group of people, the person you're talking to talks to all of you. When you need to go pick up 4 things, your group can split up into 4 different areas and get the one thing and then all come back. But it's like, oh, did you pick that up? Oh, well, I have to pick it up too. It almost like pulls you out of the role playing, like, and that's what's tough for me. And again, Mac, I get where you're coming from. This is the biggest gripe I have. It pulls me out of that role playing, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I've not had that issue necessarily because I don't quest with other people very often. So unless I'm like new dungeons, for example, you know, you can pick up the dungeon quest and do it with other people. So I know what you're talking about there, but yeah, like overland questing, I guess I don't really do with other people very often.
Which is a good call, in my opinion. Yeah. I really think they set up the questing to be played more as a single player thing. But the thing that's it's just tough for me is I was always so excited because that was like what I loved about Skyrim. You know, I fell in love with lore. I watched Fudge Muppet. I watched Shoddycast back in the day, like these lore creators, and I loved that. The Lore Seekers podcast, you know? And so the thing was, I really wanted to be able to quest with people and it feel organic, and it still doesn't to me. And I guess because of that, it's just like, fuck, you know? That's a tough pill for me to swallow, I guess.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
But
and I wonder if some of that too has to do with maybe the schedule that they have to produce content.
Absolutely.
Because they pump it out so regularly. You know, again, going back to WoW, it's like, you know, once every 3 or 4 years you get an expansion, and here we get big
one a year
sized content every year.
Yeah, it's
so
huge.
They
It's huge.
Have time to add in all the dialogue options and stuff like that.
And the thing about ESO that I think people have to, you know, I'm sure you get asked this all the time too, but people ask, you know, should I get into the game? And I said, if you're going to get into this game, I suggest you get into it as an MMO and then an Elder Scrolls game. In the sense that, you know, if you want to do group content, even PvE, there is a little bit of a meta. You need to be, like, your race with your class, they do go together a little bit. Armor sets kind of are a thing. But if you want to play completely by yourself, you absolutely can. You can just quest. And I always just kind of give the disclaimer, I just don't enjoy it as much as the Skyrim questing because I don't feel like I'm as much part of the world as much as I'm an observer. But the ESO pumping out that content is what they should be doing. I don't think they should change anything. You know, these are still great chapters, and the lore they're reaching on and the care they take with it, it's something else, and the game is beautiful. You know, I'm just bitching because I like to bitch, but it's definitely a great game.
We all do. We're gamers, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm a toxic piece of shit sometimes, and I'll totally admit that. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. But I guess one of the other things I want to talk to you about a little bit is with your stream, you know, this is something I suffer with sometimes. Do you have, like, an end game goal? Because, you know, for me, I'm like, oh, yeah, like, I'd love to be a full-time content creator, but, like, well, I have a career. I have a girlfriend. I'm going to have kids with this person. Is full-time content creating really what's best for me? Like, do you ever have that thought process?
I have never really had much of a goal, to be honest with you. I think, and actually, my wife and I have even said, you know, this is not, something would have to change dramatically for this to be a viable income option for us.
Absolutely.
So I don't think, and I don't approach it thinking this is a money-making endeavor. Like, on my channel, I don't even have a donation option. You know, I'm not in it to make a buck or anything.
Yep.
You know? So I think I don't have like I want to get partnered, or I want to be on the ESO stream team, or I don't really have any goals. I just kind of, at this point anyway, I'm just kind of doing it for the fun of it.
Hell yeah. No, I think that's why your content's so good, because, you know, for me, I don't know, you probably noticed, but, like, I took about 9 months off from content creating at all.
Yeah, I did notice that.
And what happened was right at the end, it was like last year in May, I got really, really obsessed with viewer count and follower count and all this other stuff. And, you know, there were people I was talking to in the ESO community, and they were growing, and I wasn't. And I was like, what the hell's going on? Like, what is this? And once I started dating my girlfriend, she said, this is an addiction. Like, what are you doing? Like you're addicted to streaming, and this is not what you should be doing. And so, you know, I didn't plan on ever coming back, but one morning I woke up and I'm like, damn, I'd like to start doing the podcast again. I'd like to start streaming every now and again. So now I only stream 2 nights a week, and I do the podcast once a week. It's like only 3 nights a week. Every other night I'm not doing it. And it's been the best thing in the world, but like that addiction is hard for me. And so, you know, someone else who has a full life behind it, I was interested in what the idea was. But I think you're absolutely right. I think, you know, not worrying about it, just having fun it breeds the best content.
Yeah, and it just allows me to be relaxed about it, you know? If I go into it thinking like, well, if I have 2 viewers or if I have 150 viewers, it'll be fun.
Gotta have fun, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the same. So every night, even if she doesn't really care, my wife asks, how was your stream?
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's kind of weird. If I think back about it, every single night I'm like, yeah, it was pretty great.
That's awesome.
That's the end, you know, it was... You know,
Yeah.
whether I had a huge raid or I had a whole bunch of people and chat was really active, or not that many people were there and chat was not very active, I was still like, well, I streamed and it was fun. I drank a beer. Couldn't be that bad.
Yeah, true. No, for sure. It's like I said, it's a character defect of mine that when I came back to streaming, I was like, I'm just gonna be honest about what bugged me, and I'm gonna try to like be open about it, because then I can't hide that problem. You know. So I really think that's the right mindset, and definitely something I've been trying to do this time around. You know, I keep viewer count off. I just look at OBS, and then I have a chat popped out, and I just close the stream. I obviously pull it up, but I'm not looking at it because...
I do check numbers. At the end of every stream, I'll pull up the Twitch statistics and see, like, you know, you got this many viewers and this many new viewers and all that, and I'm like, oh, cool.
Yep.
But I never set goals for myself, I guess.
No, and that's great, man. I think that's the way to do it. Dude, we're actually at time. So,
really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
wow.
Dude, we always do about an hour. We got through most of the things, dude. I want to give a little bit of a shout out, dude. Your community is freaking amazing, dude. The people typing in chat, I think they're a bunch from your community. Super, super friendly. And, you know, it really reminds me of Modified Wolf when I had her on. Her community was just so vibrant, dude.
Wolf was great.
Yeah, you should be...
Another Pennsylvania content.
I was going to say, I think I have a little bit of a weird thing with Pennsylvania creators, but... but... I just want you to know, from one streamer to another, dude, you've really cultivated an awesome community, and you should be extremely proud. You know, even if you dropped it all tomorrow, you do a great job, and I really enjoy your content.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'm always thrilled to see my friendos come and chat all the time.
It's awesome. It's awesome, and they definitely came out and turned out for the support here, so huge shout out to them. Mac, let us know, what's your stream schedule right now? When are we streaming?
Yeah, so I usually stream on Mondays and either Wednesday or Thursdays. So I'm kind of only on 2 days a week right now. But yeah, Mondays is pretty much always a guarantee unless something comes up. And then, yeah, either Wednesday or Thursday is kind of my normal.
And then someone wants me to ask you about your toe.
Oh, man.
Give me the story. What's going on with the toe? I see the emote.
Okay, yeah, the no-toe hero emote. Well, I don't know. I mean, if we go into the full story, then we'll be way over time.
All right. Give me the abbreviated, and then we'll go. This will be the first thing we do when I have you on again, because it's a definite.
Okay, abbreviated version is this. Okay, so there was this situation. It was actually in Pittsburgh. It was at Heinz Field, where I used to be employed. And there was a football game happening at the game. Or at the stadium, and there was this gentleman who walked out onto the field. He had this big old mask on, right?
Okay.
My name is Bane. And then like Heinz Ward's like running for a touchdown and all this stuff. And so he like clicked this button, and it was about to explode the stadium. And I happened to be standing next to this like tripwire line, and I was like, that's probably associated with that. So I like put my toe on it, right? And it kind of like exploded my toe a little bit.
Oh God!
But I saved the stadium, right? I saved everyone working there and all the players. So yeah, everyone lived, but I did lose the toe.
So do you not have a toe?
Yeah, I only got 9 of them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's the best. I'm sorry to laugh. That's the best thing I've ever heard. The drink I made was a little heavy, so just you know, just bear with me.
So
that's amazing.
So that was probably like for someone like in your community, they're like, "What the hell is this guy talking about?" So honestly, I did lose my toe in a tragic accident.
Oh my God! Well, first of all, I'm so sorry. But secondly, I'm sorry I laughed. I'm sorry I laughed.
I make fun of myself now, but now it's like it's this funny thing in my chat where people are always like, "Hey, ask Mac about his toe." So because it's a ridiculous story, I just make up every time a ridiculous story. So no two stories are the same.
Yeah, I saved.
Was
that? Did you just tell me the real story?
That was totally the real story. Yeah, I saved the city of Pittsburgh from Bane attacking and blowing up Heinz Field.
I don't know if I believe you, but I like it.
Yeah. So what actually happened? Well, the movie The Dark Knight Rises, where Bane actually blows up Heinz Field, did not actually happen. I foiled it. Yeah.
All right, we'll leave it there, guys. Next time we have Mac on, we're gonna get to the bottom of this, guys. He's streaming Mondays and he's streaming Wednesdays and Thursdays, depending on his extremely prickly schedule, depending on Mac. Again, I just want to say thank you, dude, for coming on. It means a lot, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Cheers. I wish I still had. I have a little bit of my drink left, guys. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close out the stream, Mac. I'm gonna keep you in the party with me.
Okay.
Thank you guys just for watching. Mac's community, you guys are freaking awesome. Like, holy hell.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Really, really supportive. Be sure to check Mac out if you guys are from my community, and this will be on YouTube and Spotify, guys, by noon tomorrow. So they'll be up. Mac, thanks. Everyone have a great night. I'll see you next time. Peace out.
Bye.